Hi everybody. Okay, so if you have a dog who has ear hair that grows inside their ears, this is going to be the video for you. There's a lot of controversy on whether to pluck or not to pluck. That is the question. I couldn't help it. There's my cheesiness coming out that I try to hide so much, but come on. So back when I was a vet tech, we were taught that you had to pluck the ear hair of every single dog, and you had to pluck it clean till it was super pristine. And if you didn't, then the veterinarian that I worked for actually used it as a way to get grooming clients. So if your dog came in and he was doing his exam and the dog had just come from a groomer and he had ear hair in there, the veterinarian would say, oh, your groomer's not doing a very good job. But guess what? Our groomer will. So I did a lot of the grooming there. I was also a vet tech there. And so we were taught, and it used to scare me to think that you could lose a client as a groomer if you didn't pluck the ear hair. And so I was trained that the cleaner the ear, the better. So, and when I say clean, I mean free of any hair. Now, I shouldn't say now, about 10 or 15 years ago, I started to look at whether there was any truth in that, if plucking the ear hair is helping or preventing ear infections. And that is really what it all comes down to, is if we have ear hair in there, hang on, I need to put this table up. If we have ear hair in their ear canal, is that causing, now I can't get back up on my table, is that causing the ear infection? So I started testing some of our dogs here at the spa, and as you guys know, we see probably, I don't know, 35 to 45 dogs a day. They're not all here for grooming, but they are all here. So, you know, daycare, boarding, through all of that. So I started questioning that theory that we had to pluck all of the ear hair as much as possible, because I started having veterinarians, actually, some more forward-thinking veterinarians, question it. So what we did is we started having people stop plucking their dog's ears. And we just would tell people, especially with puppies, puppies were their greatest study for us because they had never had them plucked. But guess what? Didn't pluck their ear hair and they wouldn't get ear infections. But how is that possible? I was taught that they would get the ear infections if you didn't pluck. But then those same dogs, about a year and a half later, would end up with ear infections, though we hadn't done anything different. So now I questioned what is going on. And what it led me to believe, and I still believe to this day, is that whether you pluck or don't pluck really has no effect on whether your dog gets an ear infection or not an ear infection. You've probably heard me say before, I think ear infections come from a greater source. I think that hypothyroidism can cause chronic ear infections. I think that chronic cleaning, right? You go to your vet and you happen to have a floppy dog ear, which they all tell you if you have a floppy dog ear, he's going to get ear infections. So they sell you the ear cleaner and they tell you to clean your dog's ear once a week. I've heard even, you know, every day. So the ear canal on a dog is very L-shape-ish, so their anatomy is very long. So when you're putting ear cleaner in their ear all the time, some of the solution can sit down in there and just kind of hang out there, and it keeps it very moist. Also, what it can do is it can also kill the good bacteria that are supposed to grow inside the ear and have a healthy ear. You all know, I've said this a million times, I have both a golden retriever and a Havanese, both floppy dogs' ears. I have never cleaned their ears. They're 8 and 9. They've never had an ear infection in their life. So golden retrievers are not the kind of dogs that need to have ear plucking done, but Havanese are, and I've never plucked Ansel's ear hair. Ansel doesn't really grow a lot of ear hair, so I just leave him. He gets a little bit and I just leave it. So what I'm going to show you guys is this dog's ear canal. He's a golden doodle, and he is a type of dog that would get his ear hair plucked. So these are my recommendations. I'm going to show you some of the stuff that can be used if you do want to start plucking your dog's ear hair, if that's something that you want to do. Like I said, my belief now is that whether you do or you don't is not going to be the cause of your ear infection. So do what you think you're comfortable with doing, what your groomer's comfortable with doing. One of the benefits of plucking the ear hair is that you can see in there, right? Some of these dogs will grow so much ear hair in there and you can't even see what's going on, if there was a growth, if there was something going on. So there are some benefits to ear plucking, but I don't think either one of them necessarily will lead your dog to an ear infection. But let's talk a little bit about how do we pluck ear hair, because I've done ear cleaning videos before if you want to watch those, so I'm not necessarily talking about ear cleaning. We're mostly talking today about ear plucking. So you can tell the difference between, shoot, I'm so old, let me get my glasses. You can tell the difference between ear hair that grows inside the ear and hair that grows around the ear. So this is the important part that you want to know. It really the root needs to be inside the ear, not on the side of the ear. So this hair, for example, this is really hard to show in a video, but there's hair on the side right here. I wouldn't touch that hair at all. Then generally speaking, the dog's ear, all this up here, you would leave alone as well. It's the actual hair that's coming out of here that you want to pluck. And there's a couple of ways you can do it. I don't usually use ear powder, but some people prefer it, they like it, they want you to use it. But for me, I pull what's loose. So I'm not doing a whole bunch of like constantly pulling it out. I look for stuff that's loose in there. It can help me see, like this dog's got some gunk in there a little bit. It's all right, sweetheart. It can be painful. That's the thing you have to understand. Like, it's not painful. So how do you make it the least amount of painful? If you have a dog who's fighting you, a little bit of ear powder can help with that. You don't want to compact the whole ear with a bunch. You just need a little bit. It doesn't loosen it. I think people misunderstand ear powder to be something that, like, it's not Nair. You don't put it in there and then it falls out and then you pull it out. God forbid, don't use Nair on your dog's ears. Please, let me repeat that. Do not use Nair anywhere near your dog, period. But particularly in the ears. But ear powder isn't something like that where it would kill it and let you pull it out on its own. It's just for gripping. So it makes it so that it doesn't slip off your fingers so much. That's super important to know. Now I'm all stressed out someone's going to use Nair on their dog. Please don't do that. So this will help so that when I am pulling it. Now this dog, because he's got quite a bit of gunk coming out of his ear in there, I will probably use a little hemostat, okay? So what that's going to do, and you have to be really, really careful if you're doing this. If you can't see the tip of your hemostat, if you cannot see it, do not stick it down in your dog's ear. It's too dangerous for you to do that. You have to be able to see exactly where that ear hair, where that tool is going. So I did a little grip, and now I'm just slightly turning very slowly. And what happens when you do that is you end up with a little bit of a release because it's really tight right now. And then I can feel when it releases. And that is what came out of his ear. It's a lot of ear hair. It's kind of disgusting, right? It's a whole bunch. So now I can see a little bit better what I'm dealing with. You know, I can kind of see in here. I can use a Q-tip again. You'd only want to stick the Q-tip in as far as you can see the tip of the Q-tip. Once you start losing that Q-tip and you can't see it anymore, then you're done, okay? So I'm not going to go into a whole ear cleaning on this guy. I wanted to show you guys some little tricks and tools on ear plucking. So you just want to be really, really careful that you don't stick your tool all the way down, just where you can grab the hair, and do a slow pull. Don't do this and don't yank and pull. But this way we have an open ear canal now. If the vet wanted to go in there with the otoscope, if you thought your dog had an ear infection, then your vet would be able to see a little bit clearer. I can't stress enough to you guys how much I don't think ear infections are caused by plucking or not plucking ear hair. That is from years of me doing I know it's not a scientific study, so please don't send me hate mail telling me that it's not a scientific study. I understand that. But it is something that I have witnessed here for many, 21 years that I've owned this business, and it was about 10 years ago, I think, when I started to pay attention to dogs' ears that were plucked and not plucked. Bottom line is, the dogs that I have seen in my experience get ear infections whether they're plucked or not plucked, so pay attention to the gut. But if you do want to pluck your dog's ears, or you do want to have your groomer pluck your dog's ears, you want to do it in a very safe manner and a very humane manner. So don't be just yanking hair out, okay? All right, everybody, I hope that helps. Of course, you can always get a hold of me. You can join Millie's House, which is on our Facebook group. And Millie's House is available to answer questions all the time. We have a couple of vet techs on there, veterinarians, and of course, pet nutritionists. So we'll see you there. Bye, everybody.